Welcome back, fellow shop rats. Today we are back on the Stitches Challenger, but we're still in the midst of a major shop upgrade as far as, well, the project you saw an episode or two ago where we are working on putting up wallboard insulation, and that's what's still sitting here. So the shop is just kind of in complete disarray and things are unorganized. And quite frankly, for a week, I just have had no motivation. So I was laying on the couch this morning, just kind of trying to get my act together and thinking, okay, what's something I would like to explore? What's something that might build some energy? What's something that might be fun? Because remember, around here we say if you make it fun, you'll get it done. So I wanted to get back on stitches, and I thought, you know what would be fun is to pull out the dash and the components and just kind of put this together roughly with what I have and see what we need to make and see what we need to buy. So we're going to work on the dash for the 70 Challenger. I got a job of work here to clean some things up and pull some things aside. And well, there's just stuff that I need to do. And we'll be back. So don't go away. You can watch the show intro. It only takes about 5.7 seconds. I'm Mike.
This is My Cars Shop.
That's a little bit better. Got a little bit of organization to things here. And I wanted to give you a little background. First of all, if you've not been on the channel before, my channel isn't about accomplishing major great things, but it's about spending the day in the shop, sharing the reality of what I think everybody goes through when you're tackling a restoration project like the Stitches Challenger or one of the 11 other projects that we have here. And one of the biggest things you're going to struggle with is finding energy and motivation to keep after things. Now, not everybody's like that. I understand that. People are different. But that's, I think the reality for most people is we feel lost sometimes when we're working on these projects and we just don't do anything because it just feels so overwhelming. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Again, part of that is because the shop is still in utter chaos from when Chris was here. And I haven't finished that project yet, and I need to get that done. But that's weighing heavy on me. But there are a lot of other things going on in my life that are weighing even heavier on me than that. And quite frankly, right now, if something isn't fun to do, I'm not going to do it. So this felt like some fun. So the first thing I need to do is go spend about 3.6 hours looking around in my various stashes of parts to find the bits that I have for this, like the ashtray and the glove box door and the instrument cluster and the radio. And well, there's other stuff. So I'm going to go find that. And to you, it'll be instantaneous, but to me, it could be quite a while. I don't know if I have it all, but I have a bunch of it. I found a tote, and then I found some other things laid in a different spot. But let me give you another bit of background as to part of my thinking on what's going on here. So the last couple of weeks, I've been getting requests for a lot of A-body parts, and I had dug out a couple of dashes for A-bodies and sold some. I sold an instrument cluster and I sold a wiper switch and a couple other things. And I was looking at some of the parts that are there as I was working on that, going, I've got switches. I've got a wiper switch. I've got a headlight switch, and it may not be factory correct for an E-body.
Look at this face and tell me that this looks like a face of somebody who actually cares.
So I want to see what I can piece together here with what I have, and I know what I'm missing, which is like the dash bezels and the dash pad. But I'm going to kind of see where I'm at with everything. But this is the ashtray here, and it sounds like a lot of the screws and bits are inside of there. There was an episode on the channel quite a while ago, a couple of years ago probably, on when I think I put this in primer, and maybe I did shoot it with satin black. I don't remember. But I definitely, oh yeah, good. There's all kind of stuff in here, like the latch for the glove box and the stop for the glove box and a whole bunch of screws. There's more stuff in there. Come on out of here. Get out of here. Oh, get out of here. There we go. Okay. What else do we got here? I've got the glove box door itself. I haven't painted any of this stuff yet. I may do that today. We'll see. Because I never really know. It's all going to be about what I feel like doing and what's fun, right? What else do we got here? We have a tote. In the tote, we have an instrument cluster. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this instrument cluster came from Channel Viewer Enforcer 505. Don't quote me on that because I don't have a great memory, and I'm sorry if I said the wrong person. There's a piece of fabricated frame rail that I don't know why is in there, and some sound deadening, and a broken mirror, some other stuff. But this was the other piece that I was looking for, which was just the factory radio, like so. This was donated by Mr. Pure Country, a channel viewer. Thanks, David. Appreciate it. I wish your name was Dave, if I remember right. So yeah, I'm gonna just kind of see how these things fit in here and get a little mental handle on what I have and what I lack and what I need. First thing I'm noticing is that my dash must be bent because my instrument cluster doesn't want to fit down in here the way that it's supposed to. So I'm going to get a couple screws in here and see what needs to be done to kind of sift and sort this out. But it looks to me like, see, that should be there, and that should be there, and then this, it looks like it needs to be squeezed. So let's get the screws in up here. I'm going to do the right thing and not use the right screws because I don't have them. But these are going to work just fine as long as they tighten down. Okay, so those are in the right spot, but these are off. And it looks to me like this just from kicking around forever is bent. Yep, so we can get screws in there now. We don't want to put a lot of pressure on that, obviously, because we could break that white metal. But I think we're going to be all right. Yep. I've never actually put this in the dash before since I got it. So this is kind of fun. Okay, very good. So I think I want to get something to set behind this to kind of hold this up in position because I need to try to figure out how the radio goes in and stuff like that. I'll have to be honest with you and say I don't know how that radio is supposed to bolt in. It's got a tab that goes here and another tab that's supposed to go there. I think that may be bent. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Radio seems to be fairly flush in there, so, but I don't know what's supposed to screw the radio in. I'm wondering if there's a bracket that I'm missing of some kind. So that's unique. Okay, there's a bracket here. I wonder if that's supposed to bend back to the back of the radio over there and then bolt it on. Let me try doing that. I'll be back. And there we go with that. There was two screws that go up underneath into the bottom of the radio. That took me a while to figure that out. This radio actually came out of a CUDA. I don't remember what year. The dashes are supposed to be the same, but the screw holes didn't line up exactly right. So I had to modify those just a little bit, but it's close enough. It fills the hole. If it's not the exact right radio, I don't care. But it is out of an E-body, I'm quite sure. I don't care if it works or not. None of that matters to me. It's just to fill the hole. So now I need to make some decisions about, well, I think I want to put the glove box door back on, as well as getting the ashtray back in this so I can get a real good feel for what I've got. One of the things that I end up having to do is going back to my YouTube channel, which is one of the reasons I wanted this TV out here, and look at things for reference from the past. I don't remember if this dash had a push button on the glove box or not. So we're going to go to the My Car Shop YouTube channel. And we're going to go to our playlists, if I can remember how to do that. I'm still learning how to do this. There we go. On the Fire Stick. So anyway, I won't bore you with all the details, but I'm going to go to my playlists and find our it's there somewhere. There we go. There it is. Has to be the last one. And go back through and find the one where I did the dash and I tore it all apart and see if that push button is there. So I'll be right back once I find that. And that right there, Crime Stoppers, is why I get in trouble, because I forget. And so I went back and reviewed the video and found out that this had the twist, which is a very common part in Mopars. And I did an episode on how to even remove this from the car. So this is what goes in there. I'm going to sand this down real quick and shoot that with some paint. Probably need to clean the inside of this up a little bit too. Get that done real quick with my super clean. Because it's super fast, it's super easy, and it's super clean. Primary thrust behind what I'm doing today is to make some decisions. There's nothing that I'm afraid to take on and tackle to make. And I've been considering making the dash bezels for this. Now, they're pretty complicated pieces. I've also been considering making a dash cap out of aluminum. The third thing I've been thinking about is buying one of those slip-on plastic dash caps and then making the dash frame itself that goes under that. So a dash cap goes over a crappy original dash pad. This plastic ABS slides over. And I thought about buying one of those to use on here and then just fabricate some bracing underneath it so that it slips on there without the original dash cap, top, pad, whatever it is. It's complicated. It's doable. What I'm leaning towards, and part of what happened, if you remember a year ago or so, I had bought the bezel for this dash and I got ripped off on Facebook Marketplace, and the guy kept promising to ship it, and after about a month I just finally told him to go pound sand because I realized he was never going to ship it. So I may still poke around and see if I can come up with a cheap dash bezel. I don't care about the wiper switch area over here, being as I'm probably not going to be using E-body stuff anyway. I have all of this A-body wiper switch and headlight switch, and I don't care if it's factory original. I'll probably use those, so I'll probably make my own wiper switch area. The original wiper on this was a toggle this way, and of course I've got the twisty one out of an A-body, which is fine. But I just need to decide how much time and energy I want to put into this in light of everything else I have going on versus spending the money, which I absolutely don't have. But that's part of the process in evaluation, is looking at things like this and making decisions and determinations on exactly what you're going to do. One thing that I was considering was mounting this in the car temporarily to just be able to look at it for a while, like I do so many other things that I'm working on. But I got a situation in there with the braces that I put in the doors, and it interferes with where the dash mounts. Now, that's not insurmountable, but I do need to take a look and see if I can modify that door brace a little bit to get this in there. I might be able to, I don't know. Is it important that I get it in there? No, not really. But again, just like when we did the battery tray and we're doing some of the trim and some of the other stuff on this car, it's about staging things in place so that I can look at them and think about them over the long term to determine exactly the direction that I want to go. I've looked at and seen some decent deals on reasonably respectable dash pads for this, but it happens to hit at a time when I just don't have any money to buy anything. And then, of course, I've seen the absolutely ridiculous deals. But I'll keep looking. That's part of this, is you just keep digging and digging and looking for that super deal that you can find on something that you go, that's worth spending the money rather than spending the time making it. That's what this project is all about, which is, if you look at the board back there, why we only have, what is it, $2,520 into this car versus $15,000 that we would have done it had we done this in traditional means. So yeah, it's all part of the process, and that's kind of what I wanted to share with you today. So let me regroup here for a minute, make a couple decisions, and we'll see where we go from here. Super encouraging to see an actual dash and interior that's more than this car ever had when I got it. All it had was a bare dash frame that wasn't even attached. So that's cool. Glove box and stuff need to be painted again, but I got them roughed in. Pretty awesome. So we need to make some decisions about bezels and an actual dash pad now. Everything except the console is actually bolted in, so I can rotate the car on the rotisserie. I trimmed up my braces in here so that there was room to put the dash in where it belongs. And I went ahead and threw the column in that I bought down in Texas. That's not the wheel that came with it. I picked up that steering wheel elsewhere. But yeah, you can see how, like, if I had the steering column rebuilt and reconditioned, things would look really, really cool. You may or may not remember that the car didn't have a steering column at all, and I had thrown a mid-70s B-body column in it just to move it around when we were pushing it around. But I did. There's an episode on the trip to Texas, and we picked that column up. But that steering wheel is actually really nice, so happy with that. This horn button came with the really bad steering wheel that's still hanging over on the wall. But I'm happy with that, and I can live with that. So heater controls, I need to look at that, and then the lights and so forth. I'm thinking I'll use A-body heater controls down here. I'll have to modify things. I need to get online and look at exactly what that assembly looks like. But this switch panel and switches and this panel with the heater controls are expensive. So I'm going to do what I can to make work what I have. I'm hoping that this heater control here will work. I've got another one upstairs as well. Probably got a couple more kicking around, but take a good look at that. And then I'm going to get online and see what the E-body one actually looks like. And this is why we spend time doing things like this, because we need to be planning ahead for what's coming. Now I know we're probably a year or two away from needing heater controls and so forth, but my initial thinking of using that duster controller doesn't mean I can't. However, this car was an AC car, and the entire heater box is not cable controlled. It's all vacuum controlled. That doesn't mean I can't make it cable controlled. I don't know that I intend to put AC in this car, but it is an issue that I have an AC heater box and I really need one that is for either I need a controller for AC or I need a heater box that's non-AC. Now I'm really thinking I'm going to keep the AC heater box in case down the road I want to put AC in this car again. But now I got a little more cogitating to do because the controller that I have, both of them, I just looked, I have two and they're both non-AC. Now Scoops has an AC controller in it that looks just like that one. And I think that has all of the vacuum doohickeys. So I could potentially swap out the non-AC one and put it in Scoops, provided I never intend to put AC back in that car. But this is why I do things like this, especially on days when I'm just really in a rooster crow mood and I'm tired and I don't feel like doing crap. And I actually did get a lot accomplished. And now I've got some things to put my mind on to think about moving forward. Finding a dash pad that's in decent shape or finding a dash cap. I think that's probably the way to go, is either finding a reasonably used dash pad or finding just a good dash cap to put on and then building my own structure underneath it to make it work. So I don't know. I don't have one. So you know how that is. And there's other trim pieces and panels missing, but I can make most of that stuff. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and look for a real super steel on the bezel, the gauge bezel, and then over on the wiper thing, I'll probably make that once I have the other one. So I got some ideas on that, but who knows? If I didn't have these bars in there for extra support for the rotisserie, I'd really think about just throwing the seats in there just for giggles.
Whoever she is.
It's really cool to me to see this in a condition where it actually has floor, although we obviously have work to finish this side. The other side's pretty much done. But to see this thing in a condition where it actually looks like a car more than it ever has since I got it. And so that's a lot of fun. And that's what made spending the day out here in the shop today worth spending the time, because now I have things to think about. Well, I did go out and look. It wasn't as wet out as I thought, and my shoes didn't get soaked. So I went out and looked, and it's all electronic. There's no vacuum controls on the minivan, so that won't work. But I'm going to keep thinking on it, and I'll come up with something. And I just don't want to spend hundreds of dollars for stuff like this if I don't need to. Doesn't mean I won't if I have to. But that's going to do it for this one. I'm going in to edit video and take a break and get some lunch because it's 4 o'clock and I haven't had anything since breakfast at 8, so I'm hungry. That'll do it. We'll catch you on the next one.
Don't forget, rock!